Good evening. This is KC9UDX. My name is Matt, and I welcome you to the 2 a.m. net. The purpose of this net is to promote the use of amplitude modulation and also to establish this part of this band as a place for AM activity in this area. Everyone is invited to listen. Licensed amateurs who can do so legally are encouraged to check in. We listen in the AM mode and transmit in the AM mode where possible. If you cannot transmit in AM, we encourage you to listen in AM and transmit in FM. If you are transmitting in FM, please adjust your transmit frequency a couple kCs above or below from our receive frequency. This facilitates the use of slope detection, that is, demodulating your FM signal with our AM receivers. When checking in, please announce your call sign in standard phonetics. Again, this is KC9UDX. My name is Matt, and I will now begin accepting check-ins. Any station wishing to check in, please come now. I know the weather is really good. Maybe everybody's outside enjoying it, although it's getting kind of late. Do we have any check-ins for the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please.
FM mode. The time being here, S9FSE, Mobile, Waukesha, over.
Alright, we got one, Steve N9FSE Mobile. And yes, you are on FM, and maybe I need to adjust my tuning a little bit because I could barely hear you even though your signal is good. So I'll try again here in a little bit. Do we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please. Alright, hearing none. I guess I'll turn it over to you, Steve, and I will try to tune you in a little bit better. N9FSE from KC9UDX.
Alright, man. So good to be here. And I'm going to head to New Berlin on the big stick if there's anyone else checks in. That's going to be my current route, so I'm going to be right now near Doris High School up by EW Waukesha, way out here on the northwest side of Waukesha. And I'm going to go the wrong way, but I'm going to right at Summit here. I'm going to take the Beltway around and head to New Berlin for the big stick if we get some more AMers out here, which I'd really like, and then I can respond in AM mode appropriately. I'm using the D700 tonight, and I'm listening AM just fine on it with my beacon side here for APRS. So if you hear a brab, that's probably this radio. I'll be putting it back on APRS once I'm done with the net here. I can't do AM so much on the other side of the radio, so the left side receives AM good. So you're sounding nice to my station this evening. I did put it on high power. Should that help a little bit as well? Quarter wave on the Prius. You got an excellent signal into the Prius because the Prius throws a lot of noise on the band, especially on AM. So you're doing well. And I may need help here and anyone else until I get to the big stick. I'll leave it at that for now. Way up here high before I drop around the west side of Waukesha here. N9FSE. Over.
Alright, thank you, Steve. Very good. And I did tune off a little bit here and hearing you pretty good now. Still a little muffled, but nothing terrible and perfectly copyable. And I guess it's pretty amazing that we can do this. Of course, we occasionally get somebody that's transmitting in FM and we can barely even tell. But it's still amazing that we can get away with doing this. I don't know that there's any other mode where you can clearly hear somebody in another mode. And fine business on the Prius. I wonder what year that is. I have a little bit of experience with some of the older ones. And speaking of which, I did buy a new vehicle this past weekend, and I got my hands full working on that. It brings to mind Kenny, KC9MXZ, one of those guys that you always seem to think is always going to be there, and then you have a really good occasion to talk to him about something and you realize, well, he's long gone. But that's the way that is. He was very, very familiar with the engine that's in this vehicle that I have. And I suppose you'll be driving past here. Well, maybe not. Well, you'll be getting closer to here anyway on the way over there. And I guess the only other things I can talk about is we went camping at Mirror Lake since last month, and of course we've had a lot of rain. There's a lot of solar activity. I'm not sure how much of an effect that's having on us. And I guess the other thing here, I'm going to be driving a different vehicle to work. Obviously I will have a better opportunity to put a mobile antenna on it. I've been reluctant to do that to my wife's car for whatever reason. And of course my other car is waiting for me to put it back together, so that's out of the question. But I should be able to put an NMO mount on the top of this one, hopefully. I might have to buy a new radio. I don't think I have anything that will do 2 meters and 440 and hopefully 70 centimeters and a couple other bands without serious work. All of the mobile rigs I have here are in need of serious repairs. And with that, we're at the bottom of the very short list here, so I'll see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please. Well, I'm not sure if somebody was trying to check in there. If so, you're way out on the distance for me. Maybe you could try something else and try again. If so, go ahead. Alright, hearing nothing. Maybe that's just band noise. I only listened for about 15 minutes before the net, and I didn't hear anything unusual, unlike last month. But I'll send it back to you, Steve, N9FSE from KC9UDX.
I do wonder some stop and go lights are making a good raucous noise. I did hear a little burst of white noise on that first break, but no audio heard here. And on your first part of your response to me, I was having a rough time, but I identified my issue real quick. It was the, and I gotta do something about it. The Prius here, it's a 2005, and it's the blower motor. That blower motor is running all that makes a raucous noise. So if I can find where that wire is and have some capacitance there, I think we can tamp that racket down. Making my way on the belt line just past Sunset, first Sunset, on the west side. And I'm got stopped for the X-ray stop and go lights here. Often I try Sunset because that's kind of still getting used to what's all on that road, but I'll skip by all that stop and go lights today for this. As I head toward New Berlin, and I know that Dave, time to time I try to listen in while I'm heading toward the big tower. I was in the northwest side of the city because my mom is now an assisted living / independent living condo or apartment of her own in a nice facility over there. So she's getting settled in and improving. She had a little big round of trouble in early July, and is happy to be working through that and finally getting around that she can at least get her out of her apartment. They've allowed her today to get her out of her own apartment on her own, so that's a big step forward, and it's been not an even trajectory, but it's always been an uphill trajectory for her, so that's been a positive thing, and always can see it. Things can be plenty worse, especially for the laundry list she's acquired of trouble, but things can be plenty worse. It's great to have her and great to see her improve day by day. So that's my story out here at Double X and the Beltline. And IFSE, over.
All right. Well, you're about 1.5 miles to my north. I am on Dos Equis. So, fine business on your mom. My mom is she's on the Gulf Coast. I don't get down there. I don't know that I ever will. And I don't know that she'll ever move back up here. I guess who knows what the future holds. I get to see my parents usually once a year, maybe twice if I'm lucky. And when I see them, they're usually in a hurry to go somewhere. They've got friends all over the country, and they kind of stop here on the way. And I don't know anything about the blower motor in the 2005. I don't recall anything about the blower motor in the one that I did work on, which I think was an older model than that. I did have opportunity to work on every last part of that car electrically that I worked on. I supposedly became the only person to be able to hotwire a Toyota Prius. I did not drive it without the key, but I was able to fire up the engine and charge the battery without the key, which I guess is not supposed to happen. But I didn't find it that difficult. Anyway, I'm sure you've heard my story about that before. Wonder how you're dealing with the rain. I guess everybody's had a different amount of rain in different areas. It doesn't affect me too much here. When I bought my house, everybody laughed at me because one of the criteria was that I'd be higher up than everybody else. And everybody said, "Why do you worry about that? It never floods around here anyway." Well, of course, 2008 was much worse than this, but this is the second episode where people are not laughing at me for being where I am. Nobody talks about it. But the water doesn't affect me too much. But I know it does affect a lot of other people. And we are at the bottom again of our very short list, which at the rate we're going may stay a very short list. We will see. Do we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please. Well, hearing none, we still have a very short list. But Steve, maybe when you get on the bigger antenna, we'll have a bigger audience. We'll see. And I see we've got comments on the YouTube channel. My laptop is in a strange state. I cannot run a graphical web browser on it, so I cannot run YouTube. But I have a very hard time reading the comments on my phone where it's positioned right now, so I guess I'll have to deal with those a little bit later here. And it's good to see some activity, though. I bought another Pinebook Pro. I think I mentioned that I was going to, but I don't think I had it yet last month. And I have installed NetBSD on it. That's the first thing I always do to these things. I wipe out Manjaro, or whatever it's called, Linux, and install NetBSD. Well, I don't have as good of an installation going as I did on the last one, apparently, because I cannot get a graphical web browser running for anything. But I haven't had a whole lot of time to play with it either. So eventually I'll get that going again. If not, maybe next month I'll bring the phablet back down here or whatever. I guess if I had more space, I'd just hook up a monitor to the computer that's doing the live streaming. Although I'm pretty sure it can't actually go on YouTube anymore. So maybe that's not really helpful. But I'll try again here to see if we have any more check-ins. If anybody else would like to check in, come now, please. Hearing something out there. Not sure if it's somebody trying to check in. If so, you are out of range for me, unfortunately. If not, it may just be band conditions again. But, excuse me. Steve, you're probably pretty close to your destination. I'll turn it over to you. N9FSE Mobile from KC9UDX.
Atmospheric noises there. Just getting back around to Racine. So yeah, I'm having the final approach to the big stick, and by the other sunset, the other end of sunset there. So that was kind of fun. And construction begins on the 14th. Southbound Racine will close. So it's like, don't head this way. At least I got a couple of days to go. Well, good on the other computer. Hopefully you can tell those fine Linux machines to give you a nice GUI style browser and get things back in the usual stead for next month. But very good on having some activity out on the YouTube, and I still got it's been a while since I've reviewed any of that, but I got to rework the stereo in the living room, then I can start watching stuff there. But in the meantime, I got a lot of windshield time. Been giving the Prius a workout, running from work out by Ma and then back home and wherever else I usually try to do. And it's been, and the store, lots of store shopping for Mom. So there's always something going on. And I get to stop at Mama D's Coffee every so often. Refill on the weekends occasionally. It gets me all wired up. And it's pretty cool on getting firing up a Prius without a key. At least some of the ways. That's pretty slick stuff. And I would always, just from what I read, would sort of shy away from a Gen 1. But if there was a working Gen 1 out there, at this point, at a dirt cheap price, I'd probably get one of those for a spare unit too. But if something happened to this one, I would definitely consider another. And then got plenty of people I know that they are always working on another hybrid, often from Toyota. And it's slick stuff. I gotta see about tapping into more things here. Gotta watch for my turn here, and I'm not far from that. And then I gotta open a gate and open a door and grab a radio and plug things in, and flurry of activity just ahead of me here. So I may need a few minutes if you're not in the middle of a good AM response on things here. And yeah, here's my turn. I'm almost to the gate. This is N9FSE. That's right.
Alright, thank you, Steve. Don't know how much you'll be able to listen to me till you get set up. Hopefully you can hear portions of this at least. Excuse me. And I guess my mother-in-law is kind of in a situation like your mom, almost. And she's quite a ways to the north here. My wife did drive up there today, so she does quite a bit of back and forth with that. So I can certainly understand. I don't get too involved with that. Try to stay away from some of the politics. And I guess we're 2 weeks away from the antique flea market that Carol had mentioned. I suppose there is a slight possibility that I will be able to go to that. So I've got to keep that on the calendar here. Make sure I can go to that, because that really sounds like something I would like to do. And not sure if you're listening yet, but you mentioned Mama D's. Do ride my bicycle past there quite frequently. Last time I rode past there was on Labor Day, and it was very busy there. It was the only place around that was open, and it was very, very busy. I do not ever stop there. I thought about it that day, but we usually stop at the Quick Trip on 83. One of them, there's two of them diagonal there. We always go to the, well, I think the other one's a tobacco outlet or something, but we always go to the Quick Trip, fuel up before either heading back or heading further west. And I guess this would be a good opportunity for me to acknowledge the fact that we are again at the bottom of a very short list, and see if we have any further check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please. Well, it's been a while since we had a slow month like this, but I guess it happens. And as long as I'm not here talking to myself, it's all good. So, Steve, we'll see if you're back set up and ready to go here. N9 FSE probably no longer mobile from KC9UDX.
All right, and I'm on the private road. Got the gate open. Backup beeping going there. And I just gotta run in. I gotta enter some code. I gotta need a good 5-6 minutes here. So give me a break. We'll be back in the proper mode and sounding a whole lot better, I'm sure. N9FSE.
All right, thank you, Steve. I will do my best to install here. Excuse me. I'll just keep calling for check-ins. Maybe sooner or later we'll get somebody. This is the 2 a.m. net. We meet here in the AM mode every second Tuesday of every month, 8 o'clock p.m. local time. We're also on YouTube live, channel KC9UDX, and delayed on Odysee, and I guess LBRY too. Someday we will be live streaming on Odysee. Could happen any day. And a long-term goal, something I just don't get around to doing. I've been trying to think about doing this for a very long time. We'd like to simulcast on 6 meters. I know a couple other people that would be able to join in then. But let's see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please. Hearing none. I see my clock is a mile off. I suppose we did have a significant power outage here at some point. I think I was at work when it happened. Just long enough for all of the batteries in all the computers to die. And I don't remember what the situation was, but I suppose I'll have to reset the clock. And I'll ask again, do we have any check-ins for the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please. Well, I retuned my receiver to better pick up AM. So I'll ask again if we have any check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please.
N9CXK. Sorry I'm late. I was busy.
All right, thank you, Carol. Welcoming N9CXK. And busy is a pretty good excuse, I would say. There are much more important things in life than the 2 a.m. net. We are here every month. I'm the only one that cannot use that excuse. But glad to have you here, Carol. And I will turn it over to you. We also have Steve, N9FSE, who is getting set up and will be back here in a minute or two. But I'll turn it over to you, Carol, from KC9UDX.
Very good, KC9UDX and 9CXK. Well, thank you, Matt. Yeah, I just got kind of wrapped up in something and I forgot all about the time. I've been thinking about the net for a couple days now because it's once a month and I have to remind myself a lot to make this. So. Excellent. I don't know, what do I have to talk about here? I was out a little earlier today when it was still light out. I was pruning and adjusting a 40-meter off-center fed antenna there. I don't know. It's supposed to come right out of the box, hang it up and use it, and I don't know why, but it seems to be very long, so I trimmed some off one of the legs, and I haven't had a chance to try it yet. But we'll see if that starts to make it different in the right direction. That would be good. That's an antenna I didn't think I'd have to dick around with, but I guess I will. Is there anything else going on? Jeez. In the pouring rain, nothing bad happened around here. I think we had a little less than 6 inches of rain. And I worked like a dog the day before. I worked like a dog on Saturday, planting a lot of things, getting the ground cover down and all that. And I didn't have any washouts, so that looks pretty good. And back to work for a couple of days. Now I have the rest of the week off, so I'm planning on a couple little projects. We're still doing a lot of outdoor stuff. Oh, my fish pond just showed up at Home Depot, so I have to go get that. I didn't make my own pond this time. I purchased a plastic molded pond to put in the ground. But I don't think the fish are going in this year. It's too late now. There's no point. They'll just have to stay in the basement. I'll change all the water and put some extra stuff in the tank for them down in the basement, and they'll be fine, I think.
the fish are 12 years old or so, 12, 13 years old. They've been in our outdoor pond for years and years. We bought those little 59-cent goldfish that you feed to your piranhas. Well, we bought those and put them in, and they're as big as the palm of my hand now. And like I said, they've been with us for about 12 years. They came with us over from the other house, but I just didn't get their pond made. I'm going to turn it back over at 9CXK.
All right, thank you, Carol. Fine business on all that. You mentioned the 40-meter off-center fed dipole. My HF antenna is still in ruins. I suppose when the snow starts falling, maybe I'll get out there and do something with that, if it's even possible anymore. Sooner or later, the tree that my one end of the antenna is supported by is going to have to come down, so I don't know what I'll do then. Of course, some of the other trees around here are getting pretty tall finally. And on that fish pond, excuse me, I'll bet you're glad that you didn't get it set up before the rain. I'm not positive, but I would expect that that would create some kind of havoc for the fish pond. I know that we would have had a disaster if my wife hadn't been on the ball draining water out of our above-ground pool. We also did get around 6 inches. And I was talking earlier, you had brought up the antique flea market on the 25th. I was looking at my calendar, making sure I keep that on the calendar. There is a slight possibility I will be able to attend that, and I would really like to. It sort of depends on how things go at work. I, for at least the remainder of the year, have one guy in lower seniority than me. This is new. He joined my shift a couple of weeks ago, so that helps. I can once in a while get a weekend off. But if he plays his cards right, that doesn't happen. So I gotta hope that he doesn't. And then I will be able to go to that, assuming I still remember it. And with that, we are at the bottom of the list again. Let's see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please.
W9JCC.
And there we have Frank recognizing W9JCC. And I will finish writing that down, and I will turn it right over to you, Frank, from KC9UDX.
Okay, thank you, Matt, and good evening to the rest of the net there. I came down just as Carol was talking, and thanks to Steve for giving out a QST on the repeater, because I completely forgot about the notepads and other things on my mind today, and kind of jogged my memory there. Look at the calendar and said, yep, it's the 2 a.m. note tonight. And we survived the rain and the storm pretty well. We had a little over 7 inches of rain during that period. And nothing, the only thing that happened is we lost power from 2:30 in the morning until, 10 at night until 2:30 in the morning. The biggest problem was resetting the clocks, I guess. About 2:30 in the morning, the TV came back on, woke everybody up, so not a big deal. And over the Labor Day weekend, I got my antenna down, the tower came down. We did 15 meters. I did 15-meter driven element as a parasitic off of 20, and it's only 4 inches from the 20 meter. And I added a spacer, a standby. Added a spacer
there a second spacer on each side so that the thing wouldn't wobble around so much because it would just knock the SWR all over the place. And when I did that, it moved the, since the thing is so sensitive on the spacing, it moved the resonant frequency down to 19 megahertz, I believe it was. And so we had to go back up again and got that all straightened out. So now we're back in business. Anyway, I'll turn it back to Matt, W9GCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. Fine business and all that. Excuse me, and better late than never. I don't know how late I will be here tonight. Certainly till 9 o'clock, but I'm not sure how much later. Only because I have not had a lot of sleep, even less than usual. My daughter got into an argument with my wife last night, and that kind of kept me awake. And, oh, what else was I going to say? I have forgotten. I just derailed my train of thought. But I'll try one more time here, still at the bottom of the list, see if we have any further check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please. All right, and Steve is back, just in time for me to go back to the top of the list and call N9FSE from KC9UDX. thank you, Steve. And I guess for me, I'm always busy, but my busy is always work. Going to work and collecting a paycheck. And, well, the past couple of weeks I've been trying to make an effort to at least go out on bike rides again and get some exercise. I wonder if you were at Mama D's on Labor Day. Only because you mentioned that, and that's the last time I rode past there. And it was very, very busy there. But I'll let you answer that on the next go-around, if you don't, like me, forget by then. And then next we'll go to Carol and 9CXK from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the net and 9CXK. Hi, Steve. Good to hear you. I got to tell you, though, that Matt has a little edge over you in signal strength here. Matt's about 10 to 15 over 9, and Steve here about 5 over 9, with lots of audio. So there's a little bit of a comparison there. When you were looking for somebody else there, I heard a blip. My squelch opened and then it dropped out again, so I don't know what that was. That was a signal or something local here. But, yes, the flea market's coming up. Not this weekend, but the next weekend on a Sunday. And I would guess, Matt, that if you just start announcing that that's where you're going and telling them that that's what you're planning on doing, I don't know. I would think you'd be able to take a day off if you want on a Sunday. I would sure think so. I've had it really easy here for the last month or so. I had 2 days off last week, in addition to the holiday, and now this week I shifted days from last week over to this week, so now I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off this week, and including the weekend, so that's going to be very nice, and the weather looks like it'll be pretty acceptable. I won't be able to plant anything for another day or two. It's so wet out there, but boy, the lake here, you should see the lake. It's up about 6 inches. The water is now touching the bottom of my pier deck out here, and that's about a 6-inch increase. So the dam at the other end of the lake here, the dam is actually on the little part of the lake that I'm on here. It's just pounded down there, just trying to drain billions of gallons of water out of this lake. That maintains the level of the lake, but it's only so big. Can only handle so much at a time. So kind of watching. I'm really surprised. I thought it would be down a little more today, but it's not. I bet you it's going to take a week to go down. The rain was really needed, and I didn't have any flooding or washouts or anything, but I'm sure there were a lot of people that probably suffered on that one. It was pretty bad. They were saying that over towards Racine, Kenosha, and even in Brookfield, they had about 9 inches. I don't know. After 3, 4, 5 inches, I probably couldn't tell the difference anyways. So, and I would say, Matt, get out there and at least get the pieces together for your antenna. Find out where they are, and maybe start thinking about going to another tree now before the other one has to come down. I know some guys that all of a sudden they just lost their antennas because a tree got taken down by the city or by the neighbor or something, or they weren't prepared for it. So, heck, it's only a wire and some insulators probably. I would say make an effort to get something strung back up and something usable. A tuner's a magic thing, you know. You put up what you want and tuner will fix it. And good to hear you, Frank. You're sounding very good here, too. And I'm CXK, over.
All right, thank you, Carol. The trouble is, if I have time to go out there and mess with the antenna, I have time to do other things that must be done that are more important. Lots of things to do outside before the winter, and not much more time to get them done in. I don't have a rain gauge here, but I estimate we had 6 inches for sure, but it's possible we had closer to 8 or 9, judging by how often my wife had to drain the pool. But again, without a gauge, I can't really estimate it that well. And as far as weekends, excuse me, I pretty much have to work every Sunday. If I don't work the Sundays, then I get stuck working the Saturdays too. So in other words, if I miss a Sunday, let's say I miss this Sunday, I will almost certainly be working Saturday and Sunday next week. Unfortunately, that's the way our rules are. And someday, hopefully, we get a contract that's a little better in that respect, but I don't think that's a real high priority for the people that are deciding the contract, so I don't know. We'll see. And as far as having a tuner, I do have one here, but I find everything works better without it. I have less losses when I connect the transmitter, be it my amplifier or the transceiver, directly to the antenna and eliminate the tuner altogether. But then my output stages are all vacuum tubes, so I can do that. Usually. And with that, we'll go next to Frank, W9JCC from KC9UDX.
Okay, thank you, Matt. KC9UDX, W9JCC. And signal report-wise, everybody's coming through pretty much full quieting here. Matching 35 over 9 on the TS2000, Carol 7, but good signal, no problem. And Steve 20 over 9. And like Carol was mentioning, your audio, Steve, is really out there. I turn it down when you come on, but it's a good copy. And that rain did wonders to the garden. Excuse me. I went out and looked at the pepper plants today. We had a couple that were just, started from really small plants. We planted seedlings. My wife planted the seeds, and there were a couple of them that were just struggling at the beginning, and they were just a couple inches high here a couple of days ago, and they gained about 5 or 6 inches after the rain. But unfortunately, no peppers. We planted a dozen pepper plants, and I think we got, I would say, half a dozen peppers maybe. And the other thing I was hoping to do pretty soon is get some topsoil filled, some low spots. I haven't gotten around to do that yet. And as far as tuners go, the only one I use occasionally is the one in the transceiver. But I don't have, all my antennas are resonant antennas, so I don't mess with the tuners. On this frequency, I leave on the TS2000, I leave the tuner out. I think I lose about 10% of the power in the tuner, so I don't even bother using it. So, anyway, trying to think of what else is happening around here, but nothing much nothing much is in my mind, so we'll turn back to that KC9UDX, W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. And my wife has harvested quite a few peppers already. I don't know what goes on in the garden. She has that all under control. So I don't know if there's any more peppers to be had. She is growing some kind of red peppers for my son, who really likes red peppers. Excuse me. And Well, we are at the bottom of the list again. I think this is the last time I will ask, do we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please. Hearing none. Frank, you are 10 out of 10 on my 0 to 10 meter, as always. Carol, your signal is up 3/8 of a point. You are normally a 6, and now you are 6 3/8 tonight. Steve, you are down 1 point. Normally from that location you are a 9, tonight you are an 8. But that may be dependent on your power settings. We are going back to the top of the list. If I can continue to speak here. N9FSE from KC9UDX.
Thank you, Matt. Definitely good to hear Carol and Frank in here as well tonight. It pays to beat the drum from a sparse start to healthy net here, so that's incredible. That's good stuff. Maybe we got Dave listening in as well if he's in a position there, so that's always a possibility. So let me answer questions first. And the Mama D's on Labor Day. That would be possible, but I don't think I was. I think I skipped that weekend. I had inconsistency, so I wasn't too involved there. I think that may have been a quick trip visit instead of a fancy coffee place. So I was there. Let's see here. There last Sunday. So yeah, I was there Sunday. So that was a good coffee and espresso as well, and I tried their breakfast burrito for the first time. I've been there many times when the trains go by, and that's always. I was there just Sunday. There was 6 engines, but there wasn't that long of a train. So that was pretty impressive. At least 6 engines. I think I was having trouble trying to count them from the angle I was looking. Other times I go by the picnic tables out there, and one time they had a whole row of military vehicles that must have came out of Oshkosh, and so that was rather impressive as well. And then back to so maybe we'll catch you in that neighborhood sometime, Matt. But back to signals and all. Everybody's got an awesome signal. He's 20 over, and I try to apply the attenuator just to tame down the occasional noise in the neighborhood here. But overall, everybody's got a big signal, and the big audio guy to me is Frank. But all very nice signals, and excellent to hear all our check-ins here tonight. And didn't find any mouse traps, but I did. One was flipped upside down, so I had to reset that one, put that back in service over one of the electrical boxes here, and then the little critters I saw, I said something moving. I had my glasses up and throw them on, and we had 2 different kinds of spiders rolling eastbound here, so I don't know where they took off to, but they didn't mess with me and I didn't mess with them, so maybe they can scare the mice away or something. Other than that, everything's in good shape out here. I don't know why we'd be down a level, but maybe it's just how the antenna's waving in the wind tonight or something here, so or it's the extra RF switch that was put in around one of the last times on here. Maybe it's got a little extra loss there, but glad that at least we're still putting out a signal here today. It's power level at 2. I don't mess with that. I'm pretty sure if I bring that up, it's going to say 2 on the scale of 10 here on the 706. Got plenty of stuff to do on my own, and plus ski stuff coming up that don't have a whole lot of radio plans and stuff going on. So I got I kind of just appreciate this right now because I can come out here and do something a little different. And hopefully I can do it again come October here. I'll look forward to that one as well. So I have it on this round, and if it's 73, that's fine. Fine and dandy. If there's other stations, we can hang around, no problem. Send it back up to NUT. KC9UDX and Company, M9FSE in New Berlin. Over.
All right, thank you, Steve. And I will go at least one more round here, so probably just one more. At least now I know what you're driving. If I ride past there again, I'll look for you. Almost always we do stop at the Quick Trip. Last weekend we went out that way, but we turned around at Genesee Park. Of course, I started out, we drove to a park further away from my house and started out there and then headed out in that direction. A little bit shorter ride though than normal, probably 15 or 16 miles compared to the normal 20. Probably maybe it could go either way, either better or worse for the 4-year-old. And I think I mentioned before, but maybe when you couldn't listen, I have never been to Mama D's, but just go past there a lot. So I maybe have to stop in there sometime. The place I try to always stop in at, which I haven't actually been there in a long time now, is the Bicycle Doctor in Dousman. That's usually our turnaround point. Sometimes we go further, but usually not. And next we'll go to Carol, N9CXK from KC9UDX.
N9CXK. Alright, very good. Well, yeah, if we have to finish up now, that's fine with me too. I have a few other things I'd like to do this evening before it gets too late. But give me a quick answer here. Where's this Mama D's you're talking about? Because we, over the Labor Day weekend, we were at the one that's right in Wales. That's the one we're familiar with. There was a big art show going on there, and Mama D's was just busier than busy.
That is the one. It's on, well, actually, I don't know what the street is there, but back to you, Carol.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the street either, but yeah, we were out there, and we were looking for a place to have breakfast, and the places we went to were not open. So then I said, well, let's run past there, and we went over there because right next door to Mama D's there used to be an antique store, and then around the corner the woman owned the little old fire station there too. She had all her things in there, and so we would go out there pretty often. But she moved on. They raised her rent here and there, and she just couldn't support it all during COVID there, so she had to move out. But I said, well, let's swing by there and look at Mama D's, and we waited in line there too because all the people were out there for the art show, which was just south in the big park there. So that was kind of interesting, though. I mean, yeah, I had some kind of a breakfast. Like it wasn't a quiche, it was a bake. It was a bake of some kind. But it was good. It was real good. Yeah, and we sat outside, and it was really a nice day. So had a lot of those this year, actually. This summer we've had so many nice days. It was wonderful being out, and yeah, I kind of envy you with the bike riding. My daughter and I usually do bike riding in the summer, but we've been just busy enough this summer we haven't even gotten out yet. My bike rack is still in the storage unit, but maybe before the end of the summer here, before the end of the season, we'll get out there. not that difficult. We usually ride the White River Trail down between like Lyons and Elkhorn. We ride up and down there. That's usually our choice. But we have been up on the Glacial Trail up there too. I'll go and park at the substation there right on Merrill Hills Road on DT. And I can put my car inside the fence there and park, and then we can ride both directions from there. And that's kind of fun, yeah. I don't know. I don't have a lot to talk about here right now, but looking forward to a beautiful week here again. Supposed to be nice weather, no rain really until maybe Sunday. So I can maybe take advantage of all the nice things that we've laid out here in our house. Still don't have grass in some areas that it should be, but I'm not going to fight with it this year. That's too much for this time of year. I don't really. I might spread the seed before it gets too cold, and then in the spring it'll be up. But I don't think I'm going to fight trying to get any grass to grow now. It'll grow, but it's just too much goofing around. I got a lot of other things to do. I still got about 2 yards of wood chips out there waiting for me. N9 CXK, over.
All right, thank you, Carol. What we used to do every weekend, at least once, is start out, excuse me, at Sunset Park in Genesee and ride to the Bicycle Doctor and back. That's exactly 20 miles. The problem I've got is that we can't get all the bikes on the bike rack anymore, so it's kind of a hassle driving somewhere. So we usually start out from home, or most of us will start out at home, and a couple of us will drive to somewhere else to start out, so that we don't have to ride on the road on the highway here. And Labor Day was the day we rode past there, and I wouldn't have noticed it. I don't pay too much attention. Normally notice the bakery, I guess, more than anything, but I happened to notice there must have been because of that art show that it was very, very busy, and I did notice that it was about the only place around that was open. That probably helped them a lot. And it sure would be interesting. I have the capability. We could run this Net Bicycle Mobile. This old boat anchor transceiver, well, it's not even a transceiver, it's a transmitter and a receiver in one box. I can run that from the bike. I would have to pull the trailer out of storage and put a car battery on the trailer, but it could be done. It would be sure be something to say we did that. Probably attract a lot of attention too. Anyway, next we'll go to Frank, W9JCC from KC9UDX.
Okay, KC9UDX, W9JCC. Yeah, I just thought of another consequence of the storm that we had. Front upstairs bathroom window. It's a casement, small window. I always have a little bit of trouble with it operating smoothly, but I think what happened is that the X-Well reminded me about 2 weeks ago that I needed a little extra paint, and touching up on the bottom wood frame of it, and I let it go. And during the storm, I think it got wet, and I think the wood expanded. And now I can only close it about 95% of the way, but I put a little iron in there, screwed it into the window, and tied a string on it to give me a little boost. I have to close it completely, but for the time being, we're just going to let it dry out. I had it open all day. Hopefully it gets better, otherwise we're probably looking at a new window there. And I noticed that my clock was off too, the 24-hour clock. I've got a backup battery in there. Evidently that doesn't work. I took it out and checked it, and battery's good, but there must be a broken wire in there someplace. Anyway, I don't have too much more. I will turn it back to Nep, W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. I think we'll quick do a 7-3 round here. My my 24-hour clock. It's an old. I don't know the brand on it. I can't see it from here. It's really old, and the reason it is not operating here anymore is that the mechanism for setting the time is a right angle drive with some very old Bakelite gears that do not mesh anymore. They're stripped out, and I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I have to someday figure out something. In the meantime, I don't have a 24-hour clock anymore. I've got a little digital MFJ one, which I gave up on the clock because it's so wildly inaccurate. I kind of use it just for the date, but I see the battery is dead. It's probably been dead for years. I suppose one of these days I'll have to pull that down and put a battery in it. Anyway, we'll go to the top of the list. N9FSE. Steve, it's your turn on the 7-3 round.
All right. I should probably mention that, yeah, I did well on my side of town, the northwest side of Milwaukee, and didn't have any trouble. Downspots were connected well and flowing properly, so they did well, and when they do well, the sump pump doesn't have to run so much, and it's just a major difference from this other storm that was, 4, 5, 7 years ago, whatever it was, that July one. It was pretty rough in Milwaukee for that. But this one was good. Over by Mom's condo, I don't think there was any trouble, but I would see that over at the new apartments and the assisted living. Everything was just fine watching out the windows there, and we even sat out on the balcony for a little bit because it's covered well, and it's nice to get outside for a little bit. The Maldives, I've never been to the one in Wales, actually. I've been to the other one in Waukesha. Of course, I click on the Facebook and it gives me the address for the Wales one. The one in Waukesha is not so far from Main Street, a set of train tracks, and just usually follow a GPS to get there. It's just one of my best ways to get around. Just trying to link things that'll get me there. Tell me the address, nice. But yeah, it's always good stuff there. It's right on the tracks. There's don't follow Google Maps. It takes you to just build a property just west of the tracks and west of their location. And the one in Waukesha is like an old boy blue or something. Locations in our, here it is. Wales, Waukesha is on Hartwell, 928 Hartwell. And that location I know entirely. Although I do know some of that stuff out by Wales, and the bike doctor, I've been there many times. We've helping out with the Best Damn Bike Tour. Got to spend a little more time on the bikes myself. Haven't done that in a while. And only thing, I see lots of bikers when I go out to one bike event or another. I think this Sunday they had one out at the Rock, and last weekend they had an event that they canceled Sunday due to the weather. Supposed to be one of their big events, and they had a good time with all that out at the Little Switzerland, and people come far and wide for that. It's a neat event. So I guess I'll have to make it my business to visit the Wales Mama D's sometime, and I'm sure it'll be the same operation, should be the same quality, nice. So it was really, I got a little crazy with the burrito. I said, they said bacon, ham, sausage. I said, yeah, if we can do all that, and they did it. And that was a tasty breakfast burrito. I enjoyed that. And they make some nice coffee there as well. So, sister-in-law approved. So we've been out there several times, and I got my card punched several times. So sooner or later, I got a free one over there. Covers, I guess, all of my my points for this month, and we'll look forward to warming stuff up and seeing how chilly it is next month. Sure will be more fall-like than just a hint of fall we got tonight. And we'll turn things back up to net control. Say 73 to everybody. And I guess they will listen out nice and then tune the band a little. M-I-F-S-E. Over.
All right, thank you, Steve. And I had no idea there was a Mama D's in Waukesha, but I believe the location you are describing used to be what was called Trackside Treats. When I was a kid, we used to ride our bikes there all the time. That was closed down for a very long time, and it was something else in between, and I guess I didn't know. Maybe it's not that building, but that's the best I can come up with off the top of my head. Anyway, next we'll go to Carol. I'll say 7-3 to you, Steve, and we'll go to Carol N9CXK. It's your turn on the 7-3 round.
Yeah, 9CXK. Okay. And you know, there was Mama D's. Mama D's was in that the little restaurant coffee shop there in Genesee Depot too. I don't know if they're still there. I think it's changed hands again. I think they pulled out of there. But somebody else is in there now. But yeah, right in Genesee Depot there was a little cafe place on the north side of the street there, and that was a Mama D's for a little while. Anyways, I think I know where the one on Hartwell is. I'm pretty sure it's right downtown, kind of. I think that's in the vicinity of Taco John's, or around there. Pretty sure. I don't know. We were in there at Carroll College for the Special Olympics a month ago or so, and so that's right down in that area too. Everything's kind of packed in there. So yeah, I don't have much else to add here. I guess be fighting with a few things before winter myself, but guys told me when I first started work 40 years ago, they said, if you don't get something done, don't worry about it. They said, it always waits for you. It's always there waiting for you. So if you do something else, and you come back, you can still do that first thing. And that's kind of been my motto now. I do a lot of things at once, and too many things I try to do at once. Sometimes I just do what I want to do. Not too often, but every once in a while. I do what I want to do. Try to squeeze in tweaking the antennas and stuff between other jobs. Just want to make sure that I have working antennas for the winter. That's what I did last year. It worked out very well. And then this year it looks like it's going to be even better. So I'm kind of happy about that. And let's see, out here, what's going on out here? Nothing. We only have one restaurant left on the lake. The one around the little lake from me here burned. That burned last winter. They sold the golf course that's just a half a mile away, and they had a wonderful old supper club there. They sold that, and the people aren't doing anything with it right now. It's just sitting there. That was kind of unfortunate. So there's only one restaurant on the lake, and it's so busy that we don't go there. I will take out from there, but that's about it. So, I was talking about food again. Now I'm going to be hungry. Okay. So, yeah, and we made it to the Walworth County Fair. That was nice. It was a fair, and that's about it. But we saw the animals, and we ate, and that's what we need to do. So, everybody have a good rest of your week. Maybe I'll talk to Frank on Friday night. I probably will. And then tomorrow night I'll be on 10 meters also for Nick's net, the 1010 net. See how that works out. Yeah, everybody take care. Glad to hear y'all. Sorry I was a little late, but I'm happy I made it. 7-3 all the way around at 9CXK.
All right, thank you, Carol. I would say that Mama D's is not near Taco John's, but having spent 12 of the first 13 years of my life living in that area, I have a distorted sense of geography. So I probably shouldn't say that. You're probably right. I guess most people would say that it is near there. Anyway. Yeah, I'm too tired to be hungry. Otherwise, I would probably be getting hungry talking about this stuff. I'll say 7-3 to you, Carol. Oh, and one last thing. I've been watching the meter a little more closely, and Steve, you're still a solid 8. Carol, you're more like a 7 than a 6 3/8. So that's a pretty decent improvement from normal, for whatever reason. And last but not least, we'll go to Frank, W9JCC from KC9UDX. It's your turn on the 7-3 round.
Okay, thank you, Matt. And thanks again to Steve for sending out the notice and got me down here. And Maldives, I have no idea. I don't think I've ever been there. I'm not a native of the area, although I've lived here since 1978. And the other thing I did after the storm is I tested my sun pump. Last time I tested it, probably 5-10 years ago, I poured gallon after gallon of water and it finally came on. Now this time I just opened the service plug and I went down there with a gripper and pulled the float up a little bit and it came on, so that was a little better deal as far as checking it out. And my 24-hour clock is an old Seth Thomas. I don't know how long I've had it. The low battery indication is not coming on, but the battery's not working, so there you go. And so 73 to everybody. Everybody have a great rest of the week. And we'll turn it back to Nat. This is W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. I have a Seth Thomas branded clock in front of me, but it's actually internally a Numicron time meter. This just has a box around it that says Seth Thomas on it, but it's only a 12-hour clock. Anyway, I will say that, well, first I will say thank you, Steve, for getting the word out. That's not real practical for me to do, so I do appreciate that. And I will say this concludes the 2 a.m. net. Feel free to reg chew on this frequency after my transmission. We will meet again on the 11th of October. Until then, this is KC9UDX 7-3, and good night.
Good night, everybody. Matt, this is Carol. I put up a much higher gain antenna probably, I don't know, a month and a half ago, something like that. I think I had it on for the last net, but it's I went from a 10-foot antenna to a almost 20-foot antenna, and that should have given me a little boost, probably why. And I forgot to mention I have 2 Seiko 24-hour clocks here. One is one that shows the whole world all the way across and all the time zones, and you can just touch any time zone and it'll pop up the current time there. And then I have another one. It's a Seiko. It's a round one with an airliner on the second hand that goes around and around, and it has a rotating dial around the outside to set your time zones. So those are both kind of cool. I collected those from antique places somewhere along the line, but they're not ham radio clocks, but they are 24-hour clocks. So there we go. Everybody have a good night. And 9CXK.
All right. Thank you for that, Carol. 7-3 from KC9UDX.